Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for stopping by at the show. This is Trek Wednesday here. Bringing to you live would be the Chief of Logistics, Captain Timberwolf, Chief Intelligence Officer, Captain Sarcasm Detector, the Chief Science Officer, Captain Snipey, the Chief of Cheesy Tactics, Captain SOB, and I am your host, the Chief PvP Pretender, Captain Marshall. Thank you very much for stopping by at the show. Let's see what we have here for this week. First off, we'd like to discuss, we'll more or less recap the event lockbox, how the lockbox ship was received, and continue on any discussions with that. So, going over here to Captain Cheesy Tactics SOB, please let us know, how did the folks receive the new Shashar and the entire lockbox event?
Quite a few like the idea of it being, all of them being account-wide unlocks. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't buy the ships because they want to play them on multiple characters and don't feel like spending all the hundreds of millions of EC that would cost. It's a very good idea, and I would love to see it happen.
So would you really drop big bucks, well, not necessarily big bucks, but at least something where, okay, Cryptic gets to monetize it, but the players get something where they can say, hey, I don't have to start spending crazy amounts of money here and trying to get this ship. I'm more incentivized to get this ship and spend this one-time fee in order to get it. You think something like a pay to have some sort of special account-wide unlock for lockbox ships on the account would work?
Yeah, I'd pay Zen a nice amount of Zen for it. I wouldn't pay the same cost as a C-Store ship, but maybe 1,000 Zen.
What about you, gentlemen?
I could agree with 1,000 Zen. That's a fair price to unlock a lockbox ship.
That seems a little steep on my end. Maybe 250, 500 Zen.
I'm with Sarcasm. I think 1,000's too steep. Yeah, 250, maybe 500. Yeah. After all, this is a ship that you already own, and you're just basically unlocking it to the rest of your account.
Very true.
But what if they release some other lockbox ships around there that seem to be, powerful or whatnot? I mean, I'm sure they would want to feel that they're trying to make their money off of it, so raising it just a little bit more wouldn't hurt too bad, would it?
Well, no, but I think that you could take it from the other direction. Would my drive to get the ship in the first place be stronger if I knew as soon as I got it, it would be account unlocked?
It certainly would for me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but right now it's only the event ships that are going to be account unlocks.
That is correct.
Sorry, that's what I'm specifically talking about. Yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah, we're talking about what a lot of the player base has been stating, especially after they read Luke Critter's blog, which, by the way, thank you, Luke Critter, for the shout-out. A lot of people have been focusing on that and saying, you know what, why stop there as far as with the ship-wide account unlocks? Why not have it available for lockbox? And I could see where Cryptic was trying to make their money with it, but based off of the circles that we run in, our fleets as well as our channels and our affiliates, they would honestly spend the money if it could be account unlocked wide. If they only got it for one tune, they don't see it as a worthy investment. But if they had it for all available tunes, they would see, yeah, I would drop this money and then I would start getting this for all of my tunes available.
I've talked to quite a few people. They'll drop the occasional $30 in to buy a ship, but they play multiple tunes and they can't justify it. A ship that, as I said last episode, that it could cost upwards of the same price as a 9-pack of ships. You can't justify getting that for one character when you don't spend that much money.
That is correct. Some of these ships are ridiculously expensive. Just either in the cost of Lobby or the cost of Zen to to unlock keys or to open promotion boxes. So adding another cost on top of that. Although you gotta remember as well that C-store ships are account unlocks already, and so are the Tier 5-U upgrades. If you upgrade a ship to Tier 5U on one account, this transfers to all the same ships on any account that you have, or on the same account that you have.
So in essence, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
So pretty much in essence, it would only make logistical sense to have lockbox ships be account wide unlock, because that's. Is there anything else that's ship wise that's not account wide unlock aside from the lockbox ships with this new change?
Fleet ships.
And fleet ships are understandable, considering it's
you're buying
fleet specific. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think that's pretty much our consensus on it. Whether we, as our little group here, can't settle on the price. One thing we all do agree on is that it should be account wide unlock. Wow, say that 3 times fast. But yeah, we based off of what we're saying here, what we're hearing out there, I don't know, maybe they should do a focus group or something and figure it out, whether it would be something that would increase their sales overall. Who knows? But pitching an idea to you guys over there at Cryptic Studios.
I think there's something more important than actual making the ship's account unlock, is make them bind to account and make it so that you can rebox the ships. I think that would be more important than having an account unlock for the ships.
Took the words right out of my mouth there, Sarcasm. I completely agree.
Oh,
with the amount of
elaborate on this,
game now. Sorry, with the amount of ships there are in the game now, you just don't have enough ship slots to have them all, and they're releasing new ships nearly every month now, every 6 weeks or so. So you're going to either run out of slots, or you're going to run out of the ability to even add more slots to your character. So I'm sure that there are some characters in the game where that is already a fact.
Question for this guy here who doesn't collect that many ships. Is there a maximum amount of ship slots that you can buy?
Yes.
I think it's capped around 50.
Oh, and you can collect more than 50 ships easily.
Yeah, some people have already hit the max, and every 2 ship slots costs about 500 Zen or $5.
I wouldn't. I mean, it's not a great price. It's not a horrible price either, but yeah, that's kind of hard for me. If I wanted to get a couple more ships, I'm like, do I really need this ship? So you're saying if you box it up again, but it's still locked to your account, it's not taking up a ship slot?
Something to that effect, and that way you can probably transfer it to one of your alts. Me, for example, right now, I haven't hit the maximum number of ship slots yet, but I am full right now. So all the ships that I have are non-reclaimable. They're all lockbox ships, event ships, promotional ships, fleet ships. So if I want to get another ship, I have to spend $5. So whatever the cost of that ship's going to be, add $5 on top of that so I can use that ship.
That's pretty much where I'm at as well. I'm juggling between the ships that I can dismiss and then get back, albeit that I'd have to do the mastery on them again. But then having the choice of dismissing a fleet ship, which means I'd have to get another fleet module to get that fleet ship, or dismissing an event ship, a lockbox ship or something, which I would never do because I could never get that ship back, and you just don't know when you would use it again. So dismissing one of your C-store ships is really the only alternative. And if you are running 1 or 2 C-store ships and you don't want to drop it because they're part of your normal play cycle, then really the only other alternative is for you to spend $5 on it, which you have to factor into the cost of future ships or your existing ships.
Oh, that's good information to know. I didn't even know that. And I'm assuming that if you delete a ship that is recyclable, you lose the loadouts that you purchased for it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you lose the mastery on it as well. You have when you get it back, you have to go through all the mastery again. And if it's a fleet ship, you've lost it. You have to get the fleet ship again.
Yow.
You don't lose the loadout slots, though.
Oh, okay, you don't. All right.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said do you lose what you've saved to those loadout slots?
Yeah, well, you do lose what you save to the loadout slots.
Yeah, sorry, I misinterpreted.
All right, but yeah, both are good information to have. You don't lose the number of loadout slots you have, but you do lose the data that you've saved to those loadout slots.
Speaking of loadouts, too, I found something a bit upset about. With each ship, you're supposed to have 2 free loadouts, correct?
Correct.
If you buy the 10 loadout slots from the C store, if you go to set up a loadout on one of the ships where you haven't set one up before on, it will, instead of using one of the free 2 you're supposed to get, it will eat up one of your 10 that you purchased from the C store.
Wow.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
I found that out recently, and I just tested it again right here just to verify it.
So it goes for the paid for ones before it goes for the free ones. I wonder if that's intentional or not.
For the ignorant here, what would be the difference? Or what would be the significance of that?
You end up paying expecting 12, and if you haven't used one of your free slots, you actually then got 11.
Oh, heck, that would explain a lot then. Because I bought one for my Defiant, and I couldn't figure out, okay, shouldn't I have more? But I never paid attention to it. I just made do with what I had.
Yeah, if it's intentionally done like that, then it's a little bit shady.
Yeah, that is definitely misleading there, because it says that it's clear in the C store that you're buying additional ship slots. You're not buying substitutional, you're buying additional. So if you're buying additional 10 slots, you should be expecting 12, not 11 or 10.
So has anybody brought this up with Cryptic yet that we know of?
This is the first I hear about it.
Yeah, Spencer, you mentioned this to me a couple of days ago. You only just came across it, haven't you?
Yeah. Wait, hold on here. I'm looking at my scimitar. It says 8 loadout slots, and when I look at the ship I just made one on. Okay, it isn't. I was mistaken there.
What's happening?
It is not taking from the free slots, or from your paid slots. It is using your free ones first. It has a separate loadout number.
Disregard, people.
Disregard.
Sorry about that.
We own our mistakes. We own up to them. We'd like to double check them every once in a while, but you know, we're testing a lot of stuff. Kudos on us. Don't worry. Beat up the Torp boy. We'll handle it.
We don't want to get another angry dev email.
This is true.
What angry dev email? I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Exactly. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of angry dev emails, Chief Intelligence Officer, I should say, could you get us more information on what the state of the server is? How's the lag?
It is better. It's not good though. It's pretty variable. It depends on the time of day. Sometimes you can get some like really bad lag spikes, but most of the time it seems that the issues with the command ship inspiration seems to be resolved. However, I'm pretty sure there's still some problems, some serious problems with the command spec tree. So whenever I see someone using the command spec tree, and you can tell someone's using it because there are icons popping up left, right, and center, the lag gets to be pretty bad. I don't know if the devs have actually touched on that yet or not. Apart from that, it is still pretty bad doing ISA, CCA, heck, even FFA sometimes can be really brutal. So there was a patch dropped on Tribble today, and the patch notes for tomorrow were released. I do not see any mention of lag fixes on there, so I don't know if they're doing fixes silently or they decided to give it a break this week or not. Unknown. We'll see. We're going to have to check it again tomorrow. Apart from
My
that,
guess. Go on. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say that it still looks like it's going to take a while for the lag to be completely gone.
Well, I think they were making such a big deal about it last week and saying, okay, here's the things that we weren't able to patch that week, but it will come out in a future patch. It may have just been that was a notice given. It might be rolled into this one. It might not be until they're ready for it. But I'm of the opinion that right now with the patch notes, take it as it is, and we'll see what comes out in the wash on holodeck.
Yeah, I think they probably did not do any lag fixes this week. If they had, they would have probably put them in the patch notes to actually show us that they're working on it. So they're probably, they did the patch last week. They did some fixes. Maybe they're waiting for a couple of weeks, then doing some kind of analysis to see how the server is reacting. Give it like 2-3 weeks worth of data points, see how it is, and then continue on with the patching, fixing.
Thanks for the report. Chief Logistics Officer, give us something on the House of...
Well, quite honestly, there's not really anything out for the Hasselpack. I just tried the news forums and the official ARC launcher and everything. They still have not released anything out there. We know we were looking for it this week. It's supposed to technically launch tomorrow. It's in the patch notes that it does launch tomorrow. But other than it launching, we have no indication of what it's about, any rewards, really anything. So it's just, I think it's a waiting game at this point. Will it get released tonight? Will they wait till right as the patch is released and they're down for maintenance to actually, okay, well, this is what you have to look forward to in 2 hours when it's back up? It's really a waiting game right now. Hoping for really good things. Of course, we still have the reward of either your universal upgrade or a spec point once per week. So at least we know that much, but anything other than that still has not been released yet.
So no information on any space gear, ground gear, rewards, other than just the we're sorry for the delay, here's the spec point or research points.
Yeah, literally all that's on their news page for STO, and they've been, whenever they have something, they release it here, is last week's House of Pech update. That's the last thing we have, so that's all I can really go on this week. And like I said, it could be they're still trying to work out a few things. They're trying to make sure they've got everything together. It could be tomorrow by the time we see it, and that's just, okay, well, we'll release it while we're patching. That's my best guess.
Yeah, it's a bit
Gotcha.
late now tonight. I don't think we're going to see any kind of dev logs. It's too late for the moment, so most likely tomorrow, as the patch is going live, we'll see something.
Thank you, gentlemen. Going over to the Chief of Cheese report. Give us the state of PvP and the immunities, because I've seen a lot of chatter on the forums, and some people are doubting that you could be immune for longer than 10 seconds in this game. Give it to us, Chief of Cheese.
In the perfect scenario, you could possibly have upwards of 19 seconds of constant immunity. You'd have to be extremely lucky to get that to chain perfectly, though.
Like extremely.
Yeah, so you would start out with the T4 Iconian Rep trait. That lasts for 3 seconds. As soon as you are hit, it's immunity. Then immediately after that ends, you use your pilot maneuver. You get another 2 seconds of immunity. So you're up to 5 seconds there. Then you use the Improved Temporal Insight trait. That'll give you 4 seconds. Takes you up to 9. Then after that, you would hopefully have thick of it from the pilot tree built up, which would be then another 4 seconds, taking you to 13. Then you would do another pilot maneuver, and then you'd finish it off with a rock and roll, leaving you right around 19, 20 seconds.
You see, that's where it sort of loses me. Where you get to the thick of it, that's where you are relying on the battle at the time to see whether that actually activates for you. Because going by the definition that's in the pilot tree, thick of it is whenever turn the other cheek becomes active on all 4 of your shield facings, which means you're getting attacked from all sides, you gain a brief period of damage immunity, and it may occur once every 30 seconds, and that goes up to 4 seconds. So, yeah, technically, while you can have that,
it'd be very unlikely.
It is unlikely that at the exact point in that 19-second string of immunities that you would get that active. That being said, though, take that out in isolation, that's still a impressive set of immunities. You know, even just taking that out and ignoring it, that's 9, 10 seconds, 11 seconds worth of immunities there with a pilot ship.
Give it to me here with this, because I've been in some PvP matches. Now, torpedoes excluded, because that's a whole nother set of immunities that people can have with that. With energy weapons going up against each other, realistically, per minute, how much time are you capable of being immune in a real combat situation?
35 seconds is the cap, but realistically, I'd say 25 seconds is easily possible.
In a minute?
In a minute?
Let's see.
So half the minute you're immune.
It should be possible, yes.
Well, if you add up all the seconds and put them consecutively, yeah, I'm going to have to sit down and work that out. But that's not a continuous, set of
Not continuous, but over a minute, it's possible.
You've got two of your immunities. One of the tier 4 traits has got a 60-second cooldown, so that's once a minute. Okay, and that's not saying that on the 0 second of each minute that's going to activate. The one you do have real control over, well, there's actually 2 you've got real control over, is the pilot maneuvers and the improved temporal insight.
And rock.
Those are the ones that you got real control over. Oh, rock and roll as well. Sorry.
So with those, you could see blocks of like 5 seconds here, 10 seconds over here, another 5 seconds here. And then if things line up, you can then get a string of 10, 15, or 20 seconds worth of immunity at that point.
Again, I think having a string that long relies on you having the luck equivalent to winning the lottery. But you can definitely have an advantage in a pilot ship by utilizing your pilot maneuvers. If you see a feedback pulse coming at you, do it. If you haven't used a shield, if you haven't used a hull heal in 45 seconds, and you see something heading towards you, you can activate it, and you can be sure that you're going to survive either being hit by it or like I use it in STFs. Like if I'm not going to get far enough from a ball cube or a sphere in time, I'll just hit a hazard emitters, even though my hull's at 100%, because I know that I will survive that warp core breach.
You're right. It's more about the timing of things than anything else, especially for PvP. If you know someone's going to vape you, or someone's hitting their big buffs to spike you, then you can just kind of chop the top of that spike off by doing some immunities, and you can just, GTFO out of there to dodge it. Even then, in a consistent firefight, say like in Cabin Hold, where it's just a big hot mess, everyone's shooting at everyone, and all different things are going off, just having half that minute, you're immune to everything, even if it's not consecutive, even if it's just in chunks here and there, that's pretty intense.
It is, and it's not taking away from what SOB was saying. Like, adding them all up, that's probably what you're gonna, 20, 25 seconds is probably very, very doable. But it's not a consecutive 20, 25 seconds. It's you're very much in control of, at least half of that. You know what I mean? You don't really have control over the thick of it, because that procs based on the damage that you're receiving. You've got control over rock and roll, you've got control over the pilot maneuvers, and you've got control over temporal insight. So if you're, very situationally aware, you can really use those immunities to your advantage. And I think that's the point of what, SOB is trying to get across here, that fine, you can't string them, but if you're good at what you do, those immunities can work for you.
I've always considered rock and roll to be a little bit of a suicide button. Basically, it's like, thank you for showing me your flank. Here, take a torpedo.
Which Odin Knight's done to me a couple of times, actually.
Hey, thanks. Hey, you're immune to everything else I just threw at you? Here's round 2. Wow.
Yeah, I used to do that as well with surgical strike. I see someone doing the rock and roll, I just put myself right into the right spot, and thank you for giving me your flank. Here's a surgical strike. Goodbye.
I would do it on the merge, where I would see somebody rock and roll from my torpedo spread. It's like, great, here comes a high yield that's just going to land right in the middle of. But now with the immunities here, they could literally come out of that and make themselves immune. So it's crap. Really? I got nothing. So
yeah, you can do the pilot maneuvers right while in rock and roll. So you could come out of rock and roll immediately, as you said, with immunities.
So what is this doing to the state of PvP as it is? I mean, I get it that they want to give survivability for PvE, but what is this doing to PvP as far as actual, players are caring about?
It's made a lot of builds not as effective. Vate builds have taken a major hit. Snipey's has seen this quite a bit. He does not like the immunities.
No. Yeah, it seems to be like you've got things that have been designed for PvE that are a bit disruptive in PvP, like I know plasma explosion consoles are one. You've got particle manipulation trade just doing ridiculous things to feedback pulse and those sort of things. Now, some could say that these immunities could help counter that, but not everyone's got access to the pilot. For the pilot ship, and that's only very, very that's a class-specific immunity. You got temporal insight if you were a Delta recruit. So any new player that starts today will not have the improved temporal insight trait. It's just it's further unbalancing a already unbalanced environment, and it is frustrating a lot of players.
Well, for me as a rookie PvP player, I would see this not so much as hurting the vape builds unless you anticipate a vapor coming and you have it ready. Because I've knocked out some people, believe it or not, with some torpedo cheese just coming out of a cloak or hiding behind somebody else and then coming out and then boom, here you go, instant spread or instant high yield in your face. They're gone. But if I don't kill that person immediately, they have at least 2 immunities that they could use immediately when I'm trying to finish them off, which is frustrating. But then you get into this whole crazy arms race where it's, all right, you use your immunity, now you're going to strike back, I use my immunity. And we're going to start beating each other down a little bit more, then you start chaining immunities, you heal up. I start chaining immunities, I heal up. Where's the fun in that? You're not playing a dogfighter type of role or a spaceship battle anymore. You're playing a chess match. And I love chess, but not this type of chess. This is just like stop, 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 stop. What gives? It's frustrating to me. This is not fun. This is just waiting for holes in an immunity chain in order to stop somebody.
Well, PvP wasn't a lot better in the past. People say that the release of Delta Rising killed PvP. Sorry, no, PvP was pretty much dying before Delta Rising even released. There was you're saying you're likening it to a game of chess. Before, it used to be like a game of rock, paper, scissors. So, for example, you have the Vapor. That's one way of playing in PvP. What is the counter to a Vapor? Believe it or not, FA builds will take out a Vapor. If you have 2 or 3 people running the PvE type FA builds, a Vapor does not stand a chance. As soon as he decloaks, he's dead. All right, well, what's the counter to the FA builds? You have the feedback pulse builds. If you take a FA build against someone who's running particle gens and particle manipulator and feedback pulse, they're going to, kill themselves going against that. All right, so what's the counter to feedback builds? You have something called the tranny build, which is transphasic torpedoes, transphasic mines, that sort of thing. Those will absolutely eat up feedback pulse builds like it was breakfast, like you're eating pancakes. All right, so what's the counter to the tranny build? Guess what? Here comes the Vapors. So it was always a kind of cycle going around like that. Towards the end, though, there was something going on that was really unbalancing PvP. And that is what determines how a team wins or what team wins is how many side captains they have. And to be specific, how many side captains in a Wells do they have? So you have the subnuke and the temporal inversion field going. And if you have a team of like 4 or 5 science captains, they will always win in an arena. It's almost impossible to overcome that. My own fleet actually came up with something called the Drain Team. And to be fair, we were also running side captains with Wells or Palisades or something along that line. So in the end, really PvP before Delta Rising was really unbalanced in that regards, and it was dying a really horrible death at that point. Plus there was a lot more imbalances, there's a lot more problems than that, but to go into that we're going to need like 5 or 6 shows, so let's skip.
All right, we will stop on that. We will continue on with that one later on. Probably a bonus show. We'll definitely dedicate a bonus show, some sort of weekend or something, just to PvP. How about that?
I agree. I think it would go down quite well with the community to discuss this openly.
Yes. You know what? And open invitation to any dev who wants to discuss PvP with the community. You have a spot on the show. Come on down. All right, next subject coming up here. Mr. Timberwolf, please give us some stuff here for people who want to learn a little bit more about Star Trek Online and work on their builds or just general topic discussions. What other sources of information can they go to get some help?
Well, there's several, actually. We've got 2 Facebook pages up. One is Star Trek Online, and one is Star Trek Online-ShipBuilds. Now, they are invite-based only, simply to make for sure that we don't have spammers or anything like that in those channels. But if you have any general questions, you go on the Star Trek Online page and get invited. Anything you need to know, you're questioning anything, you can always ask. People are willing to help. ShipBuilds specifically, you can ask for any build. Now, typically, I will warn you, the ones that want to be regulars on there, they will push DPS. And I don't mean like, average DPS like 10, 20K or something like that. They typically only think high 75 plus K. But there are people on there like myself, if you can do 30K, but you want to be a tank build or you want to be a science crowd control, I've seen it is possible and will help you fine-tune your build to that. So any kind of questions you want for any ship, you can always go to that page. There's also 2 in-game chats for Star Trek Online around those pages. But the biggest one right now, and I've even referred to him for my help. Matter of fact, with this particular person's help, my DPS has gone up 20K in about a week. And of course, I'm referring to Mr. Valican. We've been promoting him now for a little while now. We promoted him on the last show. I actually had the chance to be on 2 of his shows now, 2 of his live streams. He will help you with any build that he can, and actually go over the skill trees, the STO Academy builds. He will help you out with it. He'll still stress certain points of the game, but he'll help you build anything you want. And that's just anywhere you need these information, you can always visit Mr. Valican. You can always visit the Facebook pages. There are resources out there if you've got questions, and we're more than willing to help you with those. All we have to do is get you in the right spot. We'll answer anything, build anything for you.
Links will be provided on the show page, as well as links to videos that everybody here has posted, both PvE and PvP related. And we'll get some nice commentary out of them too as well. Now, let us see what we have here. We've got Valican. Speaking of him, though, we did go on there, Timber, as guests for his live stream over at Twitter, which we'll post that link again because we like promoting him. And we actually had a couple questions on different builds here, and I was talking with the guys here about having some sort of bonus show on the show about ship builds and ship techniques, tactics, that sort of thing. Yeah, we kind of had a consensus of it, but just let's do this live here. What do you guys think of having a bonus show where we get some guests to write us about, hey, how would you build X type of ship or Y type of ship, or I want a tank, or I want to be a pure Psi ship with support, or I want to be a Psi offensive, or I want to be a TAC that throws torpedoes all over the place because I think I am the crap. Whatever. What do you guys think about that?
I'll speak first on it just because I saw firsthand with you in Valican's stream. The moment that they learned that there was a torpedo guy out there that knew what he was doing, that could reach high DPS, the chat went nuts. And I think just that first day, we might have helped 4 or 5 people with their builds. That's when we discussed the tank build. If I remember correctly, we're discussing the guy that can tank the Hive with 50k DPS, but can also have all the threat on him. I think it'd be a fantastic guy. Yeah. Oh, it wasn't? Okay, there might have been another show. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, that does exist. Anyway, I really think that would be a good idea because there are still a lot of questions out there, not just for specialty builds, just in general to improve DPS. I think people would jump on the idea of a show to improve their builds, especially if we're calling them out specifically just to help them out.
The rest of you gents.
Like the idea. It's not something new. I mean, we've been doing this for a long, long time. So, yeah, why not? I'm open to it.
I also think on top of talking about the specific build, and you don't want to discourage individuality and imagination, but if there is something that say giving the opinion of also how effective this would be in a team environment within an STF as well, particularly if this player wants to be effective in an advanced or an elite STF environment, because your build does not only impact you, it does impact the 4 other people on your team. So also giving feedback from that, I think, would, on top of the pure straight build, is important as well.
This is why I like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, speaking about that, I was actually having a small conversation with Vel earlier today, this morning actually, and my point was that dedicated builds have no place in pugs. And what I mean by pugs is any type of pickup group, not just the random queues, but when you say looking for 4 more and you pick up the first 4 people that X up, That's basically a pug. And any type of dedicated build, whether it's a dedicated tank or a dedicated controller or even a dedicated DPS build, they're all going to have a hard time. The modern builds for pugs, I'm not going to say should be, they have to be hybrid builds. They have to be part tank, part DPS, part healer, part controller, part debuffer in some regards, or some portion, some ratio there. So that was a pretty interesting conversation we're having a little bit earlier today. Maybe we can go into that deeper later on. What do you guys think?
I like that idea.
Great.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
I'm sure we could definitely have some very spirited debates and different viewpoints on this. But especially with some of us who actually have specialized builds and have put them out in practice in the field with any type of pugs, whether in the queue or in any of the channels. So, with that said, we're definitely going to have an after show tonight. We're just going to touch on it for at least a few minutes with a build and whatnot. So stay tuned for those people who will be listening in. We're going to have an after show, and we're going to get this set up for some of the folks around there who couldn't make it to the show tonight. They will be able to see that later on, enjoy it, and provide their feedback, whether they want to thank some of these guys here or not. I'm not a specialist in a lot of the energy builds that are out there. These guys are. I have my own little specialty, and even then I wouldn't call myself the authority. I'm just good at what I do and studied the mechanics behind it. These guys give me the deeper mechanics behind what's happening within the game itself to help me understand it even better. So if I look good, it's because these guys make me look good. Closing here, things that we should be looking out for, to look out for within the coming weeks. We got the Ryza event. We've got the House of Pech. We got what else coming here? Are we going to expect some more fixes with the state of the game itself? Go on, free reign, guys.
I'm expecting to, just speculation, but I'm expecting to see quite a few fixes over the next 2 to 3 weeks because people are going to be coming back for the summer event. They don't want the people returning to the game to see it how it is right now. They won't stick around otherwise.
I agree. I definitely think that Cryptic would like to avoid what happened at the anniversary event and what they have been working on. Again, this is just a guess that they would be, trying to get their ducks in a row to try and get the system in the best possible way, understanding that it won't be perfect, but getting the best possible position for the launch of the summer event. And that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to, like just week upon week continuous improvement to the system, as considering where we've come from is, from my point of view, all that we can ask for back from Cryptic. Just a continuous improvement and continuous communication to us about where they're at and where they're up to. That's me happy.
Yep, same here.
I agree. As long as they keep some transparency going, and so we can see what's going on, even if it's for a placebo effect where they tell us, "Hey, we fixed stuff," and we go, "Yay, it's better already," even that is better than the silence that we had for so many months.
Completely agree.
I personally would rather see everything fixed, even if they have a progression chart and they say, okay, this is being applied here, let us know how it is, yay or nay or so-so, and they keep going on like that. Here, they put out a release expecting it to fix X, Y, and Z. If X and Y are fixed but not Z, they get feedback from us, they see it themselves, they go on and fix Z, then they start working on A, B, and C. I'd like to see that type of thing happen.
Well, it happened this last week where Bordicus released a list of items that were changed or fixed, and we noticed right away, like within 15 minutes of things going live, that there were a problem. There was a couple of problems with a couple of traits. They were good problems, but there was still something broken about them. So we'll see. I'm thinking that stuff still needs testing. It was like a really long list of stuff that got fixed. So probably requires some more testing to make sure nothing else breaks as they're fixing stuff, because there's always that problem, right? You fix something, it breaks something else. Do you guys remember what happened a year ago with it was actually more than a year ago. It was probably a year and a half ago around season 8 when they fixed Fire at Will. Okay, guys, quotation marks, big, thick quotation marks. They fixed Fire at Will, and it stayed fixed for like 3 months. So we don't want to see something like that happen again.
I agree. I'd rather them release what they can, and they know that it's going to be, they'll never ever be perfect. It's a very dynamic and diverse system, and there's lots of variables to compensate for. But as long as they don't release a half-finished job from, that they wish they could have gotten it better, where they would release something that they know that, yep, this is the best that we can do it. And, if there's a few niggly things, it gets put on the board to improve. I'd rather have small chunks of that going forward than having all this stuff come through and it just breaks other things. And that's just going to add to everybody's frustration.
I think we're going to have that as the final word on it, and I think that is a very good final word. So, for everybody who's tuned in and everybody who's going to be listening, thank you very much for listening to the show. As always, please give us the feedback, constructive feedback. We love it. Tell your friends, tell everybody about it. We just went from just a jam to, wait, we might actually be a serious podcast, a source for STO news out there. Thank you all for tuning into the show. On behalf of Captain Timberwolf, Captain Sarcasm Detector, Captain Snipey, and the Chief Cheesy Tactics Officer, Captain SOB, this is the Chief PvP Pretender, Captain Odinite. See ya.